Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at something truly extraordinary, the biological realities of the creatures mentioned in the Quran. We're going to explore how modern science is uncovering absolutely astonishing facts about birds, bees, ants, and spiders. And you know what's wild? These are details that ancient texts pointed to over 14 centuries ago. I mean, think about this for a second. How does a bird weighing less than a handful of coins cross an entire ocean? How does it navigate through massive storms, total darkness, and vast empty skies without any maps, compasses, or satellites? Every single year, billions of birds undertake these impossible journeys. For centuries, humanity just watched them and wondered, who on earth taught them the way? So here is our roadmap for today. 1. Masters of the sky. 2. The spider's web. 3. The tiny architects. 4. The city beneath us. And 5. Wisdom in small signs. Let's start with Section 1, Masters of the Sky, focusing on engineering and navigation. For almost all of human history, flight was just this impossible dream for us, right? But birds achieved it effortlessly. The Quran actually invites us to ask questions about this. Chapter 67, verse 19 asks, "Do they not see the birds above them spreading and folding their wings? None holds them up except the most merciful." This verse completely shifts our focus. It moves us from just passively watching these creatures to actively observing and really reflecting on the actual mechanics of how they fly. Let's see how this builds when we look at the biology. To fly, birds need an incredible masterpiece of engineering inside them. Now, we humans, we breathe in and out in a rhythm, pretty standard. But birds, they maintain a near continuous flow of oxygen through highly specialized air sacs. This nonstop oxygen delivery is exactly what makes their sustained, high-altitude flight across oceans even possible. It's a real game changer. And this brilliantly illustrates another profound reality. Birds don't just fly randomly as isolated individuals. Modern ecology shows us just how interconnected life truly is. The Quran actually states that there is no creature on earth or bird that flies, except that they form communities, just like us. They have societies, they communicate, they cooperate, and they occupy vital roles within a massive, beautifully interconnected system. A perfect example of this intelligence is the hoopoe. In the historical account of Prophet Suleiman, peace be upon him, the hoopoe isn't just a bird hanging out in the background. It acts as a crucial messenger. It brings vital intelligence about the distant kingdom of Sheba. This highlights an incredible capacity for navigation, observation, and communication that we, honestly, are only just beginning to fully appreciate in modern ornithology. All right, moving on to Section 2, the spider's web. Protection in fragility. We often think of protection as requiring massive stone walls or heavy armor. But history shows how profound outcomes often emerge from the smallest, most fragile of things. There's a famous story from the Sirah, the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. During the Hijra, the migration, he and his companions sought refuge in the cave of Thar. Their pursuers were literally right outside. But what protected them? A simple spider quickly spun its fragile web across the entrance, and a dove nested nearby. The pursuers saw this undisturbed nature and just assumed the cave was empty. It perfectly proves that significance is never simply measured by physical size or brute strength. Section 3. The tiny architects. The world inside a hive. Think about this for a minute. A creature with a brain smaller than a grain of rice operates in a society so incredibly coordinated, scientists literally call it a superorganism. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a highly advanced mini-city. The Quran dedicates an entire chapter to the bee, Surah An-Nahl, stating, "And your Lord inspired the bee." What's fascinating here is a tiny linguistic detail. The Arabic verbs used to address the bee in this passage are feminine. Centuries later, modern science discovered that the worker bees, the ones building the combs, gathering the nectar, and maintaining the hive, are almost entirely female. How amazing is that? So, how do these female workers communicate? This was discovered by Nobel Prize winner Carl von Frisch. When a bee finds nectar, she returns and performs a waggle dance. The angle of her dance relative to the sun tells the others the exact direction. The duration tells them the distance. And the vigor of the dance? That communicates the quality. She is literally sharing a dynamic map with her whole community. When you compare this to our human technology, it's honestly pretty humbling. We rely on complex billion-dollar networks of satellites in space for our GPS. A bee, weighing less than a single gram, uses a built-in toolkit: solar tracking, polarized light detection, which works even on totally cloudy days, visual landmarks, and an internal biological clock. It is a flawless multi-system navigation suite. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of their capabilities. It's just astounding. I'll rapid-fire these for you. A single worker can visit thousands of flowers in one day. They can actually be trained to recognize individual human faces. No way, right? The honey they produce, which the Quran notes contains healing, is proven to have potent antibacterial and antioxidant properties used in modern wound care today. And together, thousands of bees act like a giant HVAC system, collectively regulating the hive's temperature with extreme precision. Which brings us to Section 4, the city beneath us, ant civilizations. If you think human cities are crowded, consider this. Scientists estimate there are over 20 quadrillion ants alive on Earth right now. That is 20 million billions. It's a hidden, hyper-advanced metropolis operating right beneath our feet. The Quran features a remarkable encounter in Surah An-Naml. An ant senses the approaching army of Prophet Sulaiman, peace be upon him, and warns its colony, saying, "O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Sulaiman and his soldiers crush you while they perceive not." Notice the detail here. The ant communicates a specific danger to its community and even distinguishes between intentional harm and accidental harm. Science today totally confirms ants have incredibly sophisticated chemical and tactile communication networks. And their societies? They absolutely rival human agriculture and engineering. They build deep, beautifully ventilated underground cities. Leafcutter ants have literally been practicing fungus farming for millions of years. Some species even tend to colonies of aphids, protecting them and harvesting their sweet secretions. They are literally raising them as livestock. Biologists call this emergent behavior. It's like a giant puzzle where simple local decisions by individual ants create highly effective, complex global solutions for the whole community. It's such a profound display of teamwork that today, modern computer scientists and engineers actually study ant algorithms to optimize our own internet routing and global logistics networks. And finally, Section 5, Wisdom and Small Signs, Purpose over Size. So, what can we synthesize from all of this biological wonder? Well, nature is packed with seemingly impossible realities. Birds that literally sleep while flying across oceans. Desert ants that physically count their steps to navigate back home in featureless, shifting sand. Hummingbird hearts beating 1,000 times a minute. Creatures that navigate by ultraviolet light. Every single measurement of science just increases the sheer wonder of the design around us. So, the crucial point is this. Significance is not measured by size, but by purpose. The bee never asks for recognition. It just faithfully does its job and contributes more than it consumes. The ant quietly serves its colony. True value and impact come from fulfilling your role, whether you're a tiny insect, a soaring bird, or a human being. I want to leave you with this final thought today. Next time you step outside your door, what hidden signs of wisdom will you discover beneath your feet or up in the sky? You know, the world isn't just a random collection of matter. It's an open book filled with signs, just waiting for you to read them. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep observing and keep learning.